Hi, this is the session on how we learn at EC Cambridge. So in this session, we're going to talk about learning in an international environment. So in your classes, you will have students from different parts of the world, so we'll look a little bit at that. We're going to look at the main methodology at EC and how we will teach you. We're going to discuss learning goals and give you a chance to process them and think about your objectives at the school. We're going to practice a specific learning strategy to give you a chance to practice and to reflect on this, and look at how you're going to study outside the class. By the end of the session, you should be able to make the most of your time at EC Cambridge. So let's go with the first one, learning in an international environment. Here you have 4 statements, and I'm going to give you a chance to look at these statements and read them and think about them. All of the statements are about your course at EC Cambridge, and the task is to think about whether the statements are true for you. You can pause the video now and think about the statements. Okay, so now that you've thought about the statements, you can start to prioritize what's most important for you when learning EC Cambridge, and also how you want to spend your time at EC Cambridge. So, for example, if you want to attend all of your lessons, which of course is something that all students should be doing, and join as many social activities as possible, then it probably sounds like your learning is a big priority. And also you're going to practice your language and communication in the social activities. Of course, if you're here for a long time, it's difficult to attend all of your lessons, so it's worth thinking about. If you are a keen traveller and you love to use your English around the world, then this is your priority, and it might be that you're here for a learning holiday and you want to learn while you're visiting Cambridge. You might also need English for a specific exam or to achieve a specific level on your certificate. In this case, you'll be focused a lot more on learning, and you'll be, for example, doing all your homework and taking the advice of your teachers in class, etc. And finally, it's worth thinking about what you want to do while you're in the UK, not just in Cambridge. So how are you going to spend your time outside the class? So moving on, we're going to look at a short video, and while you watch the video, I'd like you to answer a couple of questions. So the video is on a student's first few days at the school. While you watch, answer the questions that you see here. So how did she feel on her first day? What was her first lesson like? And did she practice her English outside the school? So let's watch the video. Okay, that's the end of the video. If you would like to pause and make some notes, that's fine. If not, I will go through the answers. So, how did she feel on her first day at school? So she felt a bit nervous, but she met someone who would end up being her friend. In her first lesson, there were clear objectives in the class. It was on agreeing and disagreeing, and she was happy with her performance, but she wanted to fix the mistakes that she made in class and to explore some of the language that was being used. And finally, she did practice her English outside the school because she went for a meal with her new friend and her classmates, and they even were using some of the language that they learned in class. And that's why we say to be more like Ragad, because this is how we learn, this is how we become better communicators and better speakers in English. Okay, moving on. We're now going to look at, in a little bit more detail, how we teach at EC. So you can have a look at some pictures here and also some sentences. You will need to match the pictures with the types of interaction. So you can pause the video here and do the exercise. Okay, so you should have done the exercise now, and we can go through it. So working in pairs, working in groups, working individually, mingling, which means working with different people at different times. So you join one person or one group for a few minutes and then you move on to another group afterwards. And teacher talking to the class. So now it's worth thinking about why the language classes are structured in this way. So language classes are not like studying at university, for example. Maybe if you're studying a subject at university, you will have a lecturer or a professor, somebody speaking for a long time to the group, the students, and then students taking notes. This is not how language classes work. You need to use the language in order to learn. So you learn by doing. And that's why we have lots of pair work, lots of group work, sometimes working individually, sometimes mingling. And of course, the teacher does need to talk to the class to facilitate, to give instructions, and to give feedback. Okay, we're going to now look at your learning goals. Now, if you've accessed the platform, the MyEC platform, then you may have already completed your objectives at the school. So here you can see you have two columns, yes or no. Log on to the MyEC platform. Have you set your learning goals? If you have set your learning goals, then that's great. You are one step ahead. Just think about whether the objectives are specific enough, if they're realistic for the time that you have at the school, and also think about how you will measure them. A lot of the times students complete their objectives, but when I look at them, they're a little bit too general and maybe a little unrealistic. And when you come to the school, you can think already, is there any work that we can give you even on your first day to move your objective forwards? Of course, you will be studying this in class, and you'll be talking about your objectives in class and working towards that. But sometimes students who are here for maybe a short time would like to work on maybe some tenses and grammar, and that's really something easy that we can help you with on the first day. If the answer is no, then you can pause this video now and go to the platform, to the to-do list, and think about your learning goals and set the objectives. The objectives are worded like this. During my course, I will, and then you write a few things that you will do. For example, I will learn 10 new words every week. I will read 2 articles from the internet every week and test myself on them. And then afterwards, at the end of my course, I will be able to, and then you will set your overall objective. It could be, I will be able to speak more confidently to people around the world, something like that. And then, of course, on your first day, you can show us your objective, and we can talk about the objective. Okay, so we're going to continue thinking about learning goals, but also about managing your learning at the school. So again, in a minute, you will pause the video to think about these questions. So the questions are: how many words can the average person learn each day? How many times must you encounter a word before you know it? For example, if I learn a new word in Japanese, will I remember it tomorrow? Maybe, maybe not. Definitely, if I don't use it a few times, then in maybe 2 weeks, I will have forgotten it. And finally, how long does it take for an average person to complete an entire level of English? That's assuming that they're taking a course at the school. So you can pause the video now. Okay, so you have completed this task, and here are the answers. So every day, a student can learn between 5 to 10 words. Of course, everyone is different, and some people can learn more words. Some people, I don't know, might have other priorities, and so they might learn fewer words. But on average, it would be about 5 to 10 words a day. You also need to see, read, hear, or write a word about 5 to 10 times before you know it. So if, again, going back to my Japanese word, if I learn a Japanese word, then over the next few days, I need to see it again and hear it again, write it, read it again, in order to really learn it. The more you don't see a word, the more time passes, the less likely it will be that you remember that word. And finally, how long does it take for a person to complete a level of English? You can see down here we have the levels and how many weeks it takes. Generally, it's between 8 and 12 weeks, or 10 and 12 weeks, it says here. 8 is probably a bit short. The time is a bit short, but everyone starts at a different starting point. If you have taken your placement test and you arrive at the school, it might be that you're in the middle of the intermediate level, or the beginning of the intermediate level, or the end. So yeah, it depends on your placement test how close you are to moving to the next level. And when you go into a new level, then it will take around 10 weeks to move from one level to the next level. Okay, now we're going to look at a specific learning strategy. This is one of my favorite exercises to do as a teacher. You can see that there are 6 sentences on the slide, and they are not, the words in bold are not real words. That's a really important point. So you can see this word vrim, gronch, glip, they are not real English words. The idea is that you are using a learning strategy, which is guessing meaning from context, to try and think of the meaning of these nonsense words. For example, if I say the chocolate cake was so glip that I asked for a second piece immediately. Well, we can say that glip is probably an adjective, and because of the fact that I want a second piece immediately, that would suggest that the chocolate cake was tasty or delicious. So you can pause the video now to do the rest of the exercise, and then we'll go through them. Okay, so you should have completed the exercise or thought about it in your head. You don't really need to write anything down. But let's have a look at number one. So it was very grim outside. Because it was very grim outside, I put on my heavy coat, gloves, and a warm scarf. So we also have a little picture clue here. So it's probably something like snowy, if it's a heavy coat, gloves, and a warm scarf. It could be very cold and rainy. It could be rainy, but actually if it's just rainy, then you might not need a heavy coat. You might just need a raincoat. So snowy is probably the right answer. It can't be freezing because of the word very. You can't say it's very freezing. So yeah, very snowy probably. The dog was very gronch. When its owner came home, it jumped up and barked happily. So if it's barking happily, and it jumped up and barked happily, then we could say the dog was very happy when its owner came home. But actually we have happy here, so we don't really want to use happy again. So maybe if it jumped up and barked, then maybe excited. The dog was very excited when its owner came home. This is probably also an adjective. The next one looks like it's also an adjective because it's got so something. The movie was so zinc that half the audience fell asleep before it finished. So if it was so zinc, if the audience fell asleep, then probably it was really boring. So the movie was so boring. Zinc probably means boring. Number 4, she set her blivet for 6 a.m. so she wouldn't be late for her flight. Interestingly here, the pronunciation, I'm saying blivet. Why am I saying blivet? The stress is on the first syllable, even though it's a nonsense word. Most 2-syllable words have stress in the first syllable, and so that's why automatically I'm saying this is blivet. So what's a blivet? She set her blivet for 6 a.m. So we can see the little picture here as well. Looks like a noun. Set her blivet, so that must be alarm clock. For 6 a.m. you set an alarm clock. So alarm clock. Number 5, we sat on a waggle in the park and ate our sandwiches while watching the birds. So we've got sat, park, ate sandwiches, watching birds. In a park, they wouldn't really have sofas or chairs, they'd have benches. So we sat on a bench. Waggle probably means bench. And finally, number 6, he felt snurby after running the marathon and needed to sit down and drink a lot of water. So I have never run a marathon, but I can imagine that it is very tiring. It could be tired. He felt tired after running the marathon. You sit down and drink a lot of water. If the person is drinking a lot of water, then it's probably thirsty. He felt thirsty after running the marathon. Felt exhausted. It could be. I guess the drinking a lot of water probably means that it's thirsty. Okay. So, to sum up, the reason this exercise is here is because it's an example of a learning strategy. So according to research, and when you come to the school I can show you this if you're interested, but there is lots of research that suggests that using learning strategies like this one, guessing meaning from context, reading a lot and doing reading comprehension exercises has a big impact on learning. So the students who read most are the ones who improve more quickly and more meaningfully. And also even more impactful is planning, checking and evaluating your progress. So that's why at EC we have a progress assessment every 4 weeks to check your learning, how much you're learning, and we also have regular sessions in class where you will be evaluating your own learning and reflecting on your learning, like what did I do well this week, How many words did I learn? Did I fully understand the grammar? Can I use the grammar? What did I do outside of the class? All of these questions are very important for learning. Okay. Finally, we'll have a look at learning outside the classroom. When you come to the school, you will be using a book called Outcomes. And when you get your book, you will be given a slip, piece of paper that you can use in order to continue practicing at home. So, for example, if the unit in the book is Unit 11, then you can use the application and the website to study more related vocabulary, related grammar, and reading and listening exercises based on the same topic of that week. So it's really, really useful. And again, the students who I've seen improve most are the ones who use this website and also resources similar to this one. So that's for when you arrive at the school. And that's it. So thank you for watching this, and I look forward to discussing your objectives on Monday and meeting you. Thanks very much.